On the ceiling. Nothing much really. Just just cruising this crazy roller coaster called life.
So why did you decide? Why did you decide to make a podcast? First, podcast jitters.
Shut up. Why if you want to go back, if this is a legitimate question,
No,
like
it's
with
not.
Aftermath podcast, I'm like just to have fun.
Oh yeah. So what happened with that? Why'd you quit?
I quit because I guess I just got a little bit overwhelmed with life. I was trying to graduate at the time. I had a lot of things going on, and it was just a lot of like tying things before I popped the big question.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We'll get into that right now.
Yes, we will.
Do you think people are tired of us trying to start podcasts and just stopping halfway through?
It's funny. Wait, halfway through? What do you mean?
Or like just a handful of episodes in?
Oh, like, okay. I thought you were talking about something else. Yeah.
Not like, all right, we're done.
Yeah, no. Like the actual whole pod. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are getting kind of tired of it. Or like, if you were to tell someone like, oh yeah, I have like 2 podcasts. Like, what happened to the first one? Like, we got busy. People tend to think of that like a, well, no crowd. You need to anticipate that. It's a podcast. A lot of goes into it, But yeah, I always look back at it like, because on paper, and it was a great podcast. It was first and foremost a chance for me to
What
put
was
something
the
fun-
podcast?
The podcast was called the Aftermath Podcast.
Everybody go watch the Aftermath podcast.
It's been
How many
deleted.
episodes?
We did like over 10, right?
I'm gonna check.
He's checking. Roughly around 10 episodes.
Yeah, go watch it.
We didn't get cheap or anything by doing a bonus rosary episode, though. I just don't want to point that out.
Oh, Jason and the Godfather definitely got cheap.
But you guys had a lot of good guests, so I will give you that. We only had one. Yeah, one guest.
We did have. I forget that we had guests.
How do you
Always just
forget
feel
that
like
we
it's
had-
just
we had
you
a
and
lot
I.
of guests during Jason and Godfather.
You guys
I
had
think
me.
though,
You guys had
it
my
was-
fiance. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it was 8 episodes that we did for the Aftermath podcast, and if I'm not mistaken, Jason and the Godfather did about 16.
Yeah.
16.
I'm not saying we're twice as good as you, but
Episode 16 episodes. Last one was Marriages and High Fives. First one was called How Much Fiber is Too Much Fiber.
yeah. So I don't want to name these like that.
Yeah. It's funny because in the first episode, you guys, it's kind of like a pilot episode in the sense that it's just nothing like the rest of it.
Yeah.
You guys talked a lot about podcasts in the beginning. Like you guys mentioned, you like literally like name dropped Tiger Belly,
Oh yeah.
One Bear, One Cave. I forget. I don't know the
Two
names.
Bears, One Cave.
2 Bears, One
And you know
Cave.
what's funny? I don't really watch those anymore. I don't know. I stopped watching podcasts for a while.
Is there anything that you watch right now that's maybe podcast or maybe even long video?
No. Lately, I'm just watching a lot of Pokemon card videos.
Oh, that's right. You're getting into the hobby. Yeah, that's right.
Me and Mia, we're really liking Pokemon cards right now and comic books, and we're just having fun with that. So I'm just.
So what do the videos talk about? Do they just like show you the cards, or do they go into depth? Or
It's unboxing. It's a Pokemon card. And I'm like, no way. And I have no idea because I only know the Generation 1 Pokemon and a bit of Generation 2.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing one, but then I got bored, so I did it super fast, and I wasn't even paying attention. I was just trying to beat it, and I'm like, dang, I don't know any of these Pokemon.
Is it the video where like they open like the package and they put like 3 cards in the back?
Yeah,
and they
3
do
cards in the back, and they're
Yeah.
like, here. What? No way! A Charizard.
It's holographic.
Yeah.
Look at it. It's embossed.
Oh, dude, a perfect 10 Charizard is worth like 10 G's.
10 G's.
Yeah,
What?
it's crazy.
What do you know where they get like minted and everything for like certification and all that?
Yeah, there's like 3 companies that you can send it to, but one's trash. Well, there's a bunch of them,
Mhm.
but like there's top 3 of them.
Right.
And I watch a bunch of videos on those, so I'm gonna go through all the ones that we're getting, find out the best and value, because I think it's like 20 to like $80 to get a Pokemon card,
Minted.
what's it called? Graded?
Yeah, graded.
See, I'm
right?
still learning.
$80 to get it graded.
It could be. I don't know.
So-
That's what Google said, but
So if it comes back with like $10 worth, you're just
Yeah.
like, all right, I burned in.
yeah. But enough about me. You
All right.
you popped the question.
I did.
Which question?
What are you talking about?
We're talking about that earlier. That you were too busy because you popped the question.
Oh, yeah. I asked my fiance if she wanted to marry me, and she said yes.
How long were you guys dating?
We've been dating for 8 years.
Dang.
It was a long time. We're high school sweethearts. We've known each other since high school. We grew up around the church. Yeah.
Dude, you've been dating longer than my whole relationship and marriage. That's
Dang.
awesome, dude.
Dude, I don't know what to tell you,
I
man.
lasted 7.
7?
Yeah, man.
Dang, dude. Yeah, 8 years, and it's really crazy just looking back. I have like the worst memory. So when she tells me like a story, I just believe her. But I had a burp too. That was a perfect timing. But yeah, but I do remember all the good stuff that we had during high school. All those like trips to McDonald's, walking distance because we went to high school next to one.
Yeah.
All the games that we went to. She would visit me when I had like band performances during the football games.
Nice.
Things like that. It just flash into my head every now and then. It's really nice thinking about it.
So when did you know you were ready?
When did I know I was ready? The cool thing about growing up at the church is that we went to this group called Theology of the Body.
Oh, I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, maybe you have. But we learned a lot about like what love is, relationships, and marriage. And we learned about the vocation of marriage, how to discern for marriage. And after doing a lot of discerning, I came to the conclusion that I am called to be a father. I am called to marriage life.
Oh.
No, buddy. No, that ship has sailed. No, I'm called to be a husband and a father. And
That's awesome, man.
I knew exactly who it was to be with.
That's awesome. Did you ever tinker or see if the priesthood was for you?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. I don't know. I think I've told you this. I had scheduled in kind of interview / like meeting with Father Sergio back when he was, I guess he was a priest at our church at some point. So that when he was a priest at our church, I called in and said, hey, I would like to ask you a couple of questions. So I walked into the rectory with a notepad and pencil and asked him a ton of questions. Like, okay, how does one become a father? What's the process like? How does it feel? How much schooling do you go to? He went through the whole process. He told me like first is this many years, then is this many years. I already forgot all the info, but I wrote it down somewhere. But I was very intrigued. It's like that sounds like really fun because he didn't just say like it's a lot of schooling, it's a lot of studying. He said, oh, these 2 years you just focus on this. You'll probably take a class in like theology and maybe even spirituality, and then you get into like your biblical class. I was like, ooh, that sounds like fun because all my whole life was just surrounded by the faith, youth groups, going to church, going to several youth groups at the time. So I was like, I'm being surrounded by a lot of things that I loved. So after that interview, I just went home and I just laid in bed just thinking about like, how would it be like if I was a priest? And I loved the idea at first. Like, it was like, dude, it'd be awesome. I'd have like really cool like times having mass, celebrating like sacraments and everything. Yeah. I saw myself at some point being a priest, like the whole wardrobe and all, like just doing priestly duties. But the more I pondered about it, the more like, oh, but marriage somehow sticks out to me more.
Yeah.
And then like I tried giving everything a chance. Even what's the other one?
Sisterhood.
No, the single one, the single life, or is this a proper name for it?
Celibate.
Celibates, being celibate. So being like
something consecration. Yeah.
I think so. I think that word, that sounds familiar. So I maybe it has to do with that. But essentially, it's like you're just single for God, basically, and you do a lot of ministry work. And I thought, you know what, that'd be pretty cool. Just being a single guy doing things like TOB. Like I'm already doing it now, and I love it.
Yeah.
I don't see myself not loving it in the future. I even gave that a thought, but then I was like, no. Something about the married life is just calling me a little bit more. Until I finally decided, I believe God's calling me to be.
When's the wedding?
The wedding is in less than 2 months. Yesterday it was 2 month mark.
What's the date today?
Today's the 27th of
the 27th of August.
In 2 months, I get married.
Wow.
I know.
Everybody go to his mass.
Oh,
You're not invited to the party.
Oh, I forgot. Last confirmation class, I was going to invite my entire class to go to the mass.
Really? Oh, the mass, yeah.
Yeah, the mass. They're not going to get the food and all that stuff. They can drop off a gift at the mass if they want. No, yeah, I was going to ask them because we've been talking a lot about sacraments.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing I know for sure they know about. Because even last class, when we were talking about the Holy Spirit, they're like, wait, that's a sacrament. I was like, okay, maybe you don't know much about sacraments, but they were like very heavily. So I was going to say, hey guys, we talked a lot about sacraments. We talked about baptism, First Holy Communion. You guys are doing confirmation.
Yeah.
I would like to invite you guys to witness the sacrament of marriage at my wedding on October 26th. You guys are welcome to come to the mass and just, invite them to be a part of that special day.
October 26th, man. Can we all dress up? Is it a dress-up wedding?
Yeah.
Like for Halloween?
Since October, yeah, just wear your best costume. Yeah. I want to see pirates in the pews, baby. Let's go.
Father Ripperger once said, Father Ripperger, watch and subscribe. Collab. That you get a guardian angel, a family guardian angel once you're married. So, yeah, man, start asking for his help, I guess.
Lupita also brought that up too. It was funny. She's like, "Oh yeah, we get an extra guardian angel." Kind of like we get a bonus, kind of thing. But no, yeah, I'm definitely gonna ask them for their protection and to watch over us, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you have any advice for any young couples out there?
Any advice?
Like high school couples or going into their college?
Okay. Oh yes.
High school, college, yeah, whatever.
If you're in high school
Dealer's choice.
and you really strongly feel like, okay, I think this is the guy I want to marry, like you've put a lot of thought into it, I say give it a shot. I usually tell people not to date in high school because
Really?
then the whole drama of like, oh, I'm going to Fresno State, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to Harvard, and you're like, oh no, stay for me, you know, kind of like the whole, you know, everyone goes their own way typically after high
Dang.
school.
No, you make a good point, but
But
for everybody that's dating in high school, you don't recommend it, or
I recommend looking more into it or really understanding what you're getting yourself into because
Yeah.
it's relationships are commitments, and if you're not seeing that or you fail to see or you're just like, oh, I'm not in for the commitment, I say you're dating for the wrong reason.
you're not
And I
dating with a purpose.
exactly, and I typically recommend just dating at college because
Yeah.
the people there are a lot smarter because I mean they're paying for education. Like how nerdy is that?
Yeah.
So you're gonna find a guy that's much smarter who has a chance of getting a really good job with a
Yeah.
diploma. So you hit the jackpot if you just date in college. And
Yeah.
sit
No,
behind
if
him.
I was dating a guy that was going to Harvard, I'd be like, I'm moving wherever you're going. I'll be in a different dorm. I'll work 3 part-time jobs, and I'll clean your dorm. And just when you graduate,
Yeah,
still be with me.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
That's-
cool, man. Marriage. It's you nervous? You scared or excited? All of the above.
Stressed a little bit just because of it's we're getting into the end game now and all the planning stuff kind of lines up. We gotta just make sure everything's going. I need to really I think this week is when I started applying for the marriage license. So I gotta
Oh,
get
that's right. You need a license to get married.
So I need so I need to schedule that. Paula, who's our wedding coordinator, she already gave me like the website. Apparently,
Yeah.
you do it online now. Before you had to schedule an appointment and go down there. It's all online now.
That's crazy. She helped you with your marriage, and she helped me with my annulment. Thank you, Paula.
Paula, you're awesome. She did really?
Yeah.
How was?
Well,
I always wondered about.
I think it was her and Lorena.
Mm-hmm.
You always wondered about what?
Annulments, because ever since I first heard about it in high school, I was like, I wonder how that process is like.
Yeah. So I have a coworker who we're having a conversation about it, and he's like, dude, can you help me like get an annulment? Because I'm with my new girl, and I really want to pop the question, but I don't want to go through all that BS later. So I'm like, yeah, dude. And he's like, can we do like September? Because my schedule's crazy this month. I'm like, yeah. So basically, what we're gonna do in September, we're gonna go to the church and schedule it with him. I'm gonna walk with him and like show him because he doesn't really go to church. This might be his foot in,
Mm-hmm.
I did tell him that it's pretty difficult. If I can remember correctly, it was 10 to 12 questions that I have to describe my entire relationship, how we met, what our dating life was like, our families, what was the engagement? No, why did I want to propose, or why did we want to get married?
Mm-hmm.
The engagement, relationship, marriage. What was that like? What was it when kids got involved? How were each other's family? It was a lot of things.
Wow.
I think mine was like 5 pages that I wrote.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to ask, like, is it like a
And then
paragraph thing?
then I turned it in, and they read through it, and I was as thorough and honest as possible. Luckily, I knew the verbiage to use too. Not that there was a loophole, that was honest. Of the free, total, faithful, fruitful from that I learned at TOB that was burned into my head.
Right.
Of what consists of a valid marriage, and within everything I wrote, I'm all like, oh, I know this is gonna be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing they look at. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Those questions you also find in I forgot the affidavits for
I don't-
marriage. Those are the ones that you get 2 people for each person to sign. They're very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that happened in this annulment. You had to bring up witnesses, typically family members or like really close friends,
Uh-huh.
and they asked them like 100 questions about us.
Oh, what?
Yes, I don't even know what they are. I never asked.
Who went for you?
Because both of my parents, both of my brothers, and that was for me.
4.
And
They asked for 4?
well, they asked for I forget how many. There's a minimum, but I'm like whoever wants to, and they all did it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they take that information. I think they did that with my ex. I'm not sure if I did everything or if she helped out. It's already been so long.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? I'm glad that I did it in a time where neither of us were dating. That way, it's not an issue. But now never mind.
Okay. All right, just
it's
edit
not
that
like,
out.
yeah, no, don't. It's
Cool.
but yeah,
No, I get what you mean.
but now we're both free to like marry in the church again.
Mhm.
Thanks be to God, actually.
Yeah, thanks be to God. You can still
Yeah, man.
get married.
Are you ready for kids?
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time I see a cute video, I of like a little kid doing something funny, I send it to my fiance and I tell her, "Hey, can I get like 10 of those, please, to go?" And she's just like,
10 of those?
"Tranquilo." Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one video she sent me. It was like a video of like it was a father and his daughter in a car, and they're both it's a black family in the UK, and she's like, hold on, this is my jam, and it's Selena, and she goes, "Como la flor, Santa Mo-" and she's going into, like, she's shaking her fist. She's like I want to say 6 or 7. She's like so
Nice.
tiny, and she's like, "¿Qué dices tú?"
Yeah.
She's like eyes closed, just going with it, and he's just staring at her like, "Who taught you Spanish music?" Like,
Dude.
and then he puts on another song. No, she puts on another song, and she's like, you sing it, Dad, you sing it." And he goes like, and he doesn't know Spanish. She's like, and she goes,
That's basically Spanish.
what's her reaction is even funnier. She goes like, "¿Qué? No." She reacted in Spanish. I'm like,
That is so cool, dude.
dude. I was adorable. It was adorable.
Maybe they teach Spanish over there.
Maybe they do.
Spain's
you know?
not far away from UK.
Yeah, it's not. So, yeah, I thought it was really adorable. So I told her, yeah, I need like 10 of those, please. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, stop."
That's
But
cool,
yeah,
man.
I would love. I want a family.
Who do you think is going to be the strict parent, you or her?
I feel like it's gonna be her, because
Wow.
yeah,
Dang.
I as much as I would like it for it to be me, I feel like it would be her.
Why would you want to be the strict parent?
I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of like, I don't know, my calling.
Look, from being the fun parent, I'm also the one that has the most power, in the sense that when I'm upset, they know that. Well, she knows that I'm serious and things need to stop, or she needs to get moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get the whole phone call like, "Talk to your daughter," and then when I talk to her, it's like it's over.
Oh, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
she's changed.
Yeah.
She'll do better now. Trust.
Yeah.
Dang.
So it's give and take, because they don't want to upset the fun parent.
That's true. I mean, I guess so. They got to come hand in hand. Like, you gotta be the fun parent, but also you become the parent they least want to disappoint.
Yeah.
So when you sit down and talk to them, like,
And I think it's the opposite from what I've noticed and seen. Like, if you have a daughter, she's gonna be attached to you, but if you have a son, she's gonna be really attached to her. I don't know.
That seems to be like the trend, right? Like mama's boys and daddy's girls. That's
Yeah.
like, yeah. I'm really looking forward to see how it how it plays out. I really want, like,
Don't mess it up, and if you do it early. So
do it early. The first kid hates me. The second kid loves me. Like, that's perfect.
Yeah,
That's all. I have one. That's a win.
If you're gonna have 10, you're gonna have lots of tries.
Like at least 50% of them. Yeah. But no, yeah, we excuse me. We do. We both want a big family too. Or the way we put it is, as many as God grants us.
Well, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
Exactly. And it's funny because one time my parents, we had a guest over. Like, they're friends from like when they were like, I guess in like the youth groups when they were young.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, they're like, Cristian, have you put any thought into it, or do you want to like wait till you have kids?" And my dad's like, "Oh no, he has his. Yeah, he knows. He already knows.
He's got him on name.
Yeah." And she was just like, "No. Like, what if maybe they're not ready, or maybe further down the line?" And he's like, and then my dad like just kind of chose off, like, "Hey, Cristian, how many kids do you want?" And I say, "As many as God gives me, as many as God gives me." And my dad's like, "You see that? There you go. It's got." And they were like, "Really?" Like, "Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I want any less?"
Good for you, man. We need more couples like that. Also, looking at you, Cristian, that have that type of mentality of like, yeah, man, this is what families are meant for. It's not, oh, let's have a kid. Ooh, let's have a kid too, because it's gonna look, because yeah, we love them, but if we have another one, or if you have 3, or if we have 4, it's gonna be too tough financially. Man, just be open, trust God, man.
Exactly.
Trust
You'll find a way.
Yeah, and that's easy to say from a guy that has one kid.
I know. Like, first of all, you have like one kid, but
one
no.
kid, and I'm already like, let's go part time, because this is it's a little much.
But what you're saying is still true. Like, yeah, don't think that way.
Even when you put yourself in God's hands like that. I was talking to a dude today when Mia was doing jiu-jitsu. His daughter's doing it too, and we're both doing the adult one, me and the dude.
Nice.
And I don't know how this conversation came up, but he told me that he asked if I had more kids. I'm like, no, it's just her. He's all, and I'm like, you? He's like, we've been trying, but no luck lately. And I think that's another reality that's out there. Like,
yeah,
what if we can't? We still got to trust God,
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I know at least 2, maybe 3 couples that are struggling with that, and I know they're praying, and what it. I mean, it breaks my heart to see it because they would all make great parents, but at the same time, it's just like what inspires me about them is their trust in God. It doesn't waver. I still see him at mass. I see my confession, and it's a tough thing. It's a tough cross to bear, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how tough that is.
Yeah.
That's always been like a fear in the back of my head because we're not gonna know until we actually do the act that if we can bear kids or not. What if I can't? What if she can't? But we've actually had those conversations before. We've talked like, what if we can't conceive a child? Like, well, we'll do whatever God calls us to. If He wants us to adopt, we'll adopt. If He wants us to foster, we'll foster. But I feel like we'll come to that answer when that problem is presented.
That time comes,
exactly. Yeah. It's never like you could plan ahead, but ultimately just whatever God throws it is.
No, don't plan ahead on this one. don't try to see like, wait, does it work?
No, not like that. No, oh my gosh.
Yeah. You can't have kids. Let's not get married.
Let's just not get married. Forget it.
That's funny, man. But that's cool, and she was part of TOB too, right? Well, yeah, I was in charge of it when you guys were studying.
Yeah, exactly. You were the what's it called, advisor?
I was something. I was just some adult there.
You were just some adult that chaperoned.
Every once in a while, he'd take it serious. Every once he would.
You'd pop your head in like, "Oh, you guys are still alive? Okay, I'm taking off."
Yeah. Dude, I was so bad in the beginning. I remember one time, like, they did like a skit, and I walked up to all of them, and it was horrible. And I'm like, "You guys are," and I said the F word. Effing joke, man. And then I just walked away.
were you mad that day? Or
no, it was just like, it was bad and I was embarrassed.
Dang. Was that like your first year there? Or like,
I was like my second or third.
Oh my God. So you already used. Who was a leader at the time?
Oh man, I don't even want to say names. I'm sorry.
All right,
if you're watching, they're probably not watching.
I do remember you.
They're probably gonna comment this podcast.
Like they drop it. It's not, guys. It's a freaking joke. It's gonna be full of just like this is fun.
Yeah. Nah, it's a lot of trial and error, man. Because you guys are young. You're in high school or young adults, and I want you guys to take it serious. Asking you guys to take it serious and everything, it didn't work. So I'm like, well, let me try this. Let me try tough love. That was not the move.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like we had stages in TOB. Like there was that hey, just be nice to everybody and accept them for their ways.
Yeah.
And then there was like the tough love era where we actually said the words tough love to each other. Like, hey, you guys are being like stupid. Like this tough love. I'm just saying because I want us to get better. We kind of masked it like, oh, this is a good thing that I'm telling you that you're a piece of crap because tough love. And I really hated that. I can tell like I can remember who
was I in charge at that time.
No, Michelle was in charge.
Ooh, name dropped.
Yeah. Oh.
It's all right. She's your sister-in-law now.
Yeah, exactly. Now they know which Michelle I'm talking
about.
about.
Well, Michelle, if you're watching the show, comment on Cristian.
But no, yeah, I'm pretty sure she like as soon as I said that, she was like, I know exactly who we're talking about, like this leaders at the time. But then we entered the youth stage where you got in, and you were just you're like the best of both worlds. Like I'll show you tough love. You can take it as a joke, or you can take it for like, you know what, there's some merit in there, like he said, like this is a joke, we need to try better. At the same time, he's saying it, he's comfortable enough to say it like that, like in that format.
I tried really hard, dude. It was a really tough job in times to like, I want to encourage you guys and I want you guys to do better, but then there'd be times where I'd be the one discouraging you guys, and those were tough days. I remember like or people would come up to me like, hey, so-and-so is crying because you told her this or you told him this. He doesn't want to come back. I'm like, dang, Dang. And
how do you recover something like that?
I try to have a conversation with them. I try to apologize. I'm sure that, a handful slipped through the cracks where either my ego or pride got it or my embarrassment got in the way. And I just didn't say anything and let things be,
Kind of let things heal on their own?
If they did. Or I don't know. Like, I remember I offended a couple really bad and they just dipped. And then I saw them at Walmart and they're like, hey, how's it going? And like they got married and they have a baby. And I was just like, oh, cool,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess another thing I need to realize, a lot of you guys are kids at that time. And then when you guys start getting into adulthood and growing up, you realize it's, well, I guess you're a little bit more open-minded. Like, yeah, it's not easy being an adult,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I feel like I said, like TLB was in stages. We're like teenagers in high school with you around. Then we kind of grew up. We're like, all right, we're like at the same level as this guy pretty much. So you're not gonna take his BS anymore.
Yeah.
So like, but one of the just like I like because you had a no BS policy, and I saw that when Shelly was still around.
No BS policy.
Yeah, you did not accept like sugarcoating at all.
Oh.
There's one memory I have. We were all in a circle. We were doing small group questions.
Yeah.
It was you, me, Shelly at the time, and we were talking. I forgot what we were talking. We were talking about. We're answering questions from a talk that we just heard, and she asked a question like, "What? How do you show love?" I think that's something on the general like, how do you go about this?
Yeah.
And one person, like, we're all going around the circle. One person answered, "Oh, like it's pretty simple for me at least. Like when people are nice to you, you reciprocate that back to them, and if they're being like jerks to you, well, you show that back to them as well. You got to kind of keep it balanced." And we're all like nodding, like, "Okay, that's that's how you think." And then you like, actually, that's not how we're supposed
actually?
to. Yeah, you're like, that's wrong. That's not what we're supposed to do. And like, I was looking at you like, okay, good. I wasn't the only ones thinking that. And everyone in the circle was just like, okay, like, let's move on to the next person kind of thing. But you're like, I want to make sure everyone in the circle understands that that's not what we don't do eye for an eye. We're very loving. We turn the other cheek. Like, you're trying to correct that mentality, but we're all kind of just like, for whatever reason, I don't know, we're just like, well, that's his answer. And I feel like that's not the right place for that's their answer, at least like a youth group. Yeah, because there's the answer, there's the truth, there's not your truth,
some
there's not my truth.
Well, I think we had a responsibility to guide, and it was uncomfortable, but
no,
I don't remember that at all, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I did stuff like that. It's funny that you mentioned, like, well, we're supposed to turn the other cheek, we're supposed to love, because it's hard to live that out as I mean, a teenager, and sometimes as an adult. Well, I don't know what's more difficult, man.
What?
Like, to be more forgiving and loving. I think it's difficult in all stages of life, huh?
Oh yeah, I think so. Especially, I mean, as kids, say you're sorry. I don't want to say I'm sorry. They're stupid. Like, and as adults,
9 times out of 10, they are stupid.
Hey, honestly, like, you're in the right.
Even as adults,
like, I guess I got to do the right thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure you felt that same way.
Yeah, I've been stupid 9 times out of 10 as well. So.
Making people pissed. But no, I mean, forgiving is always going to be the toughest thing.
It's funny. Like, I was texting Brother Victor, name drop, today, and he's like, "How's life going?" And I'm all like, "Dude, everything's going great at work, at home, with my kid. I'm in jiu-jitsu, and, like, I'm getting everything. My hobbies are even, like, thriving. And you know what that means? My spiritual life is down." When life is going great, my spiritual life is down. Dang. And he laughed. He's like, "Yeah, well, that means just like something to prepare for." I'm all like, "Yeah, but I'm kind of a coward. I don't want to prepare for it because life is good right now."
Oh my God.
So it's sometimes hard to do the right things when everything seems well. But I guess that's one of the enemy's tricks, right?
It's one of the caveats.
Life is good. Why are you tripping?
Mm-hmm. No, honestly, like, why do bad things when you can just do good things?
Man, you don't need to pray, man. You already got everything you need. Like, well, that's like, I'll be honest, that's one of the things I've been struggling with a lot. Like, just my lack of prayer. I have the Angelus set every day, and like for the past 3 weeks, maybe a month, I've just been like, ignore.
Oh wow!
Even before it goes off, so I don't feel bad.
Yeah, that's great. I haven't prayed the Angelus in a while. I was just reminded one time when I was at it was like last Tuesday, I believe. I was there to pick up Maria it was Thursday to take her to confirmation, and she was like, "Oh, it's 6 o'clock. You want to lead the Angelus, or do you want me to lead it?" I was like, "Yeah, I forgot about that prayer. I still had it on my phone saved in a prayer folder that I haven't looked at in months." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll lead it." It felt good praying it again. Yeah, but then again, I also didn't pick up the practice of picking it up.
It's hard right now, dude. Just to pray for my meals. I even stopped doing that for a while, and I'm like, come on, man, at least this. So that's one of my biggest reasons for confession, and that's another reason for why I keep falling into all these other temptations. It's just like no prayer, no support, and no trust in God, not letting Jesus take the wheel.
Have you ever confessed that in confessional?
That's my first. When I confess, I try to do the list of the 10 Commandments in order.
No, nice.
Like whatever sins I do, I just kind of like, okay, did I do the first one? And then I just like, well, I didn't pray. I didn't put God above all things, but you know. And then what's the second one? I go to mass. That's keep the holy day.
Holy day, yeah.
Third one, don't use the Lord's name in vain. And I'm like, yeah, I say a lot of profanity, so on and so forth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's how I started to confess.
That's pretty good. I say that's a really good. I always mention that also I haven't been really good in my prayer life.
Yeah.
But then I'm just thinking about it. Just saying it now makes me think like, what would be?
How would you confess that?
Yeah. Oh no. I always confess that. And I kind of,
Hey, twins.
I kind of like. It's funny because sometimes I wish I wouldn't. And I know that sounds bad, but hear me out. Every time I do that, they're like, "Well, that's your issue."
Yeah.
At the same time,
that's the
like,
root.
yeah, but like, I guess that's just me like ignoring that. They're telling me that for a reason. I guess I realized I need a prayer, but it's like, oh, I also mentioned these other things that you can probably get to, but like, no, you need to start praying to Him first.
Yeah.
I just always kind of like brush that to the side. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. I need to do that. I do pray during meals. I pray before I leave my driveway, and that's pretty much it. I would like to pray a lot more than just those instances.
Yeah, and you know, one thing that I was realizing today, it's like, I think life is just seasons, and so you know, it's just because sometimes I'm like praying my rosary, I'm doing like an hour of mental prayer, I'm going to adoration as much as I can, and all these other Angelus, all these prayers, and then there's times where I'm just like, why is this so hard? And it's like nothing when I'm in that season of like, you know,
yeah.
But then I think it's just like, maybe this is what I need to work on. You know, pray even when I'm not feeling like when I'm not in the mood to pray.
No, yeah, and that's the hardest thing to do.
It is, and yeah, like how you said, it's like, it's like, you know, you have all these problems with the car, but the reason it doesn't go, it's because you don't put gas, and like that's what prayer is, right? Like you have all these problems, but if you just put gas in it, it'll go.
It'll start going. Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. Going with the seasons thing, I think right now I'm in a good season, and confirmation started again, and me and Christian, we teach confirmation. Last class was like I didn't get serious about this because we were going over the gifts of the Holy Spirit, and I didn't know most of them. Yeah, and it's funny because Christian was like, "Christian, you want to take over and continue on with what I said?" And I was like, "No," because it was like. Because we're explaining counsel, and he's like, Christian, you want to go into what counsel is? And I was like, dude, I only knew knowledge and wisdom. That's it, dude. That's all you're going to get out of me. I'm sorry.
What is counsel, Christian?
Okay,
so turn on your mic.
Your mic's up.
So counsel,
our technician has a technical issue.
Yeah, this is true. So counsel is it's the Holy Spirit using its own gifts to help you. So counsel is the Holy Spirit using its knowledge and wisdom to be able to guide you on your journey. That's what counsel is. So they're helping, just like a counselor helps you in your academic journey. Oh. Same thing as the Holy Spirit counseling you, so that way it help you in your spiritual life.
Cool. Look at this guy.
That's really cool.
Actually, get out of this shirt.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
that was all the confirmation kids, bro. They were cooking schmooking out there, bro.
Dude,
they were crazy.
Our confirmation kids. And
we had to put them on timeout because they were so good.
They were talking to me on our way to mass, and they were like, I really like that format. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I love that it's not just us listening to you. Like, we can interrupt you and ask you questions, and you'll actually address them. And I was like, that's the way to learn, honestly.
I like that format, too.
Because if it's just lecture, you're giving them a chance to sleep.
Yeah, one.
Like, you know? Like, you're giving them a chance to just clock out and do their own thing. But if you're intentionally interacting with them and having them interact with you, asking them questions, Christian does a perfect job at this. He's like, all right, anyone else? Give me an example of wisdom. There's no wrong answers. Go ahead. Like, he encourages it. There's one kid, I'm not going to name drop him because he's a minor. I don't want to name drop any minors. But he typically kind of like zones out. Mm-hmm. He's not really in class. He kind of slumped over. He would like barely talk. Sometimes he sleeps during mass. I have to wake him up. He was like,
is it Mia? Because she sleeps during mass. Yeah, sometimes.
But yet Sunday he was like, "Oh, is this the right answer to this question?" And he was all smiling too. I was like, "This guy's wide awake. This guy's engaged in the lesson today." And I'm kind of happy that I looked a little bit ahead of the next lesson. It's still the Holy Spirit, so we can go back to those because we did not finish class. They were asking us so many questions. They were kind of like,
awesome,
what about this? What about that? How does that work? Explain wisdom again. Can you? I gave him an example. And I was like, guys, it's already like 9:40. Matt starts at 10. Put your chairs away. We got to get going and close up. And they were just like, oh, okay. I was like, dude, it was a good class.
So what's the secret to having a interactive good class? Is it just...
Well, for one, I think one of the biggest things is that we have like a really good wide awake personality. This guy literally yells and claps and like he's just going on full range and everything, and it's like it wakes him up. And like I'm not sleeping either. Like I'm like, yeah, guys. Like, so give me another example, or like I'll address your questions as soon as they like ask it, to give them like that real quick. All right, this is what it is. And I feel like they like that a lot. I really don't want to read anymore because we have books and we're supposed to read the lessons.
Reading.
We
See
didn't.
all those books behind you?
Oh yeah, you really hate reading.
They're just for display.
Yeah, they're just decorations. But no, yeah, we got a TV. Everything set up to play videos too. Yeah, we didn't play a single one.
Good.
We didn't read anything in the books. We instead taught what was in the books. We used the books to give them answers because we're asking, all right, guys, what are the gifts of the Holy Spirit? And they're like, confirmation. We're like, that's a sacrament. And they're like, I told them, guys, it's in this page. So they flipped over. They're like, oh, there's the whole list.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's why they would find it, and they have something to respond with now. Because if they don't know, they're not gonna want to interact. But if you give them the answer, all right, who can give me the next one? Oh, they didn't say this one. Oh, is it fear of the Lord? Like, yeah, that's another one. You know, that way they kind of giving them incentive. Like, oh wait, I do know the answer. I can interact in this fun interaction now. So I think that's also something that really, I guess we can use the books that way to give them more incentive to like, oh, I can interact. I can be a part of this fun dynamic with the teacher. And that's how you kind of like force them to want to learn. Yeah. You kind of trick them into wanting to learn. And for like a 9 a.m. class on a Sunday,
dang,
that's really hard to do.
I am hungover at that moment.
I am crawling.
I think that's what's wrong with that kid, man. He's just hungover. He just got hydrated that morning. He's like, I'm ready to learn.
No, he's a really good kid. He's really fun.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
What about you, Christian? You got anything to add to how you keep a confirmation class?
I think a lot of it just has to do with the kids. If I'm being completely honest, there are classes that you can have that you can have like the best like structure ever, and it works with like 9 out of 10 classes. But there's that one that just because the kids are in there, you know, and it's. I think a majority of it is just meeting the kids where they're at, you know.
Yeah. Do you think a class like that can be? Sorry to ignore you.
No, it's
Do you think a class like that can be turned around?
How do you mean?
Like how you said that, you know, that 1 out of 10 class that you kind of just got a bad bunch of kids.
Yeah, and
Not
so
bad.
that's where
they're bad.
Yeah, so that's where you kind of meet them where they're at. So like for instance, because a lot of these kids felt like I was lecturing to them, so I kind of like felt that way too. So then what I did is I just decided, all right, I'm gonna be real with them. Like I'm just gonna. Because a lot of what I did in the beginning was like try to be professional, and I'm like, these kids don't want professional; they want real, you know. So then I was like, you know what, screw it, and I was like, let me be aggressive. Let me not aggressive in the sense of like, let me start beating up kids, because you know I get
10 push-ups.
Drop it, give me now. So instead, I was like, you know what, let me just be me, but like let me be aggressively me, unapologetically. So then what I did is I started giving an example of how I give Christian a couch. Yeah. By the way. I was just using it as an example.
Yeah. At first, I was like, "You want it back, you little?" I was like, "I'll give it back."
In my mind, I was like, "Oh, he probably thinks he wants me to pay him." Like,
because he was like, "That could be an example of using." If you look at it, I'm like, "You think I'm using you? Take it back."
No. Okay, so for instance, I gave Christian a couch, him and Lupita a couch for their new home and stuff like that.
Nice.
But the thing is, like, I never explicitly said like, "Hey, like, I want money for this couch," kind of thing. So he was like, "Oh, it's free," and I was like, and so in my mind, I'm like the pride side of me was like, I should ask that little punk for money, but like the other part of me was like, bro, you didn't even like say like you want money for it. So I was telling him that's an example of humility of like get the money or like, you know, let it be kind of thing. Yeah. So then at one point I was like, you know, I'm gonna take you guys to my Protestant days, and so I put WWJD on the whiteboard, and I was like, what does that mean? And then I like they were like, what would Jesus do and all that kind of stuff, right? And so then at one point I was like, you know what, let me just try to like match with them. So I was like, if I were would Jesus have run that fade on that guy? Like, would he have run the fade like on them? And like the whole class just started laughing, and I was like,
what does that mean?
Would he have like ran up on Christian and like beat him up for money type of thing, like kind of thing? And I was like, would Jesus have run that fade? And everybody just started laughing, and they were like started shaking their heads and like smiling and stuff. And I was like, yeah. So that's when I noticed a lot of their like personality started to come out. Yeah, and, you know. So I think a lot of it is just
at their level. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, meet them where they're at.
Yeah. When you said what would Jesus do? I'm all like, just change the first word. Why would Jesus do? And I just thought about the whole drag scene at. And it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Who
boy.
is-
So I was
who
kind of
would
laughing to
Jesus
myself.
do?
Why is Gomorrah?
Why?
Why is Gomorrah?
But to
Where
answer,
would Jesus do?
to answer your question, I think
What was my question?
your question to him was like, do you think you can get a class
Oh, yeah,
that's like
yeah.
that to like kind of fall
Turn
into
him
it,
around.
turn him around? Thursday, I had to teach a first year class.
Mhm.
There was a lot of troublemakers in that class.
Wow.
Kids that would like do anything for a laugh. This guy had, I don't know what there were or what you would even call them. He had tearaway pants. Like they tear away at the knee.
I would call him cool, dude.
But it was weird because he was just sitting there and I was like explaining like confirmation and the rules and hours and stuff. And he just like nonchalantly unvelcroing his pants and just sat there like this and everyone was laughing at him. And I was like,
You didn't laugh?
no.
I would laugh.
If I laughed, everyone would. I was getting frustrated because they were really getting to me because they were just like interrupting or they would be like doing something on the side and one kid would be like, "Hey, yo, stop touching me like that!" You know, try to get attention, like
Yeah.
having everyone in on the business, and I'd just be like, "Oh my goodness." So I shared my attest. I
Dude.
just went, huh?
I would just be like, so why is touching a sin, guys? Okay, maybe not. Didn't get everybody.
So I just went. I kind of went to like a testimony. I was like, "Okay, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I understand that a lot of you guys don't want to be here." When I was first in my confirmation, like one kid told the teacher that like they didn't want to be there because they had an argument with their parent before going to class,
Oh, yeah.
and a lot of them were like, "Oh shoot," and they were just like, "What?" And they were like, interested. Like, I know it's really you guys don't think it's really important, but I want you to understand the importance of it. And I explained the sacraments. I explained baptism, First Holy Communion, and confirmation. I was like, baptism for First Holy Communion. You guys were kids. You guys were like under the rules of your parents. Your parents told you what to do.
Yeah.
Now you guys are young adults. They might call you kids, but you're young adults. You guys are getting to that age where you guys are becoming mature adults. You're the one giving the yes. Baptism, your parents are in full control. First Holy Communion, I mean, they're the ones that told you to get to class and told you all about that stuff. Now it's just you. It's your yes, and that's what makes this important. And I gave the whole thing I told our class about like it's not graduation because in graduation you never come back to high school. This after you graduate, you're coming back. You're saying that you want to come back. You want to be rooted in the faith. You believe in the Apostles' Creed. You're gonna be following the Ten Commandments, the whole 9 yards. And at that point, all the troublemakers they were like just like leaning in, listening. Some of them like look kind of like I guess sad or maybe I don't know, maybe ashamed or concerned. They were just like kind of they were kind of getting scolded, I guess. But I wasn't scolding. I wasn't saying like you need to start shipping up because this is like I was just like telling them what confirmation was, and they're just like,
Yeah.
no,
That's good.
yeah. So that's I would say that's a good like place to start them off at, and then be like, all right, let's have fun, which we did. We played Jeopardy, the same Jeopardy game that we played, and there are man, they were loving it. They had an excuse to be goofballs and be funny and like loud.
Yeah.
They oh my gosh, they cashed in all. I mean, you weren't there for the fun for our class, huh? But there's a category. So they're all biblical categories and like religious categories, and then there's two categories. What is that movie, and where did you get that? And what the movie one was just a picture of a movie, and they had to guess which movie it was.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, we're doing all those. Let's do all those first, and they did, and they're like, all right, we'll do what is the Bible for 200 like, towards the end. But they all had a fun time. It was really good seeing them come around.
Yeah, so there's way. What
Oh, yeah.
would you say is just putting effort into it? It is. Yeah.
I would say don't like be the teacher that's like, listen, you just listen to me and you roll with me, and that's all you gotta do. You just gotta obey. You explain to them like, you guys realize what you're doing here, right? This isn't a waste of time like you think it is. Let me explain to you what this is,
How
and you tell me
serious
if it's
this is,
important
yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
And they
that's
all
good.
realize like, okay, it is important. I think that's like the best first step you can give them, especially as first years.
Dang. I was a confirmation teacher for one class, and it was about a couple of months after my divorce. Where I joined.
Really?
Yeah, I was not ready for it.
This is not gonna end well. This is not gonna end
we
well.
got Kevin. So
he told me that you were like the best confirmation teacher.
yeah, because
ever.
all we did was play games.
Exactly.
I didn't know what I was doing. The first year, it was it was just me trauma dumping
Oh no.
and playing games.
Shut up.
So it was like fun. And I'm like, let me bring it all down because I'm kind of going through it. Yeah, I had some friends that they're like, oh man, I know you're going through a tough time. You know what would be good for you? Influence a bunch of high school kids. And I'm like, okay. Second year, I remember how I started the first class. I got everybody together. I told them to come close. And I'm like, look, man, I didn't give you my best last year. I was going through it. Let's really learn this year. and I put so much effort into second year. I still don't think it was enough because my knowledge was really low. Still is, but
Too humble.
yeah, it was tough. But I'm really glad that you guys are doing it. It's not an easy job. It's a thankless job, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the parents won't thank you like they ought to, because yeah, the sacrament of confirmation, it's awesome that we have teachers and everything, but where this faith needs to be taught is at home.
Oh, definitely.
So
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
are really doing a lot, and I appreciate you guys for that, man, because I know one day Mia's gonna go to confirmation, and hopefully she gets a cool teacher like you guys. Well, like you, because someone wants to leave. By the way, we're looking for a new audio guy. If anybody's interested, I'm just kidding.
Mike from Radio
Please
Shack,
take
you
the
can
job.
just-
It's his first day, and he wants to quit because I didn't give him snacks.
He didn't want snackies.
He didn't.
Said,
No, I did want
he
snacks,
said,
but I had
he-
crippling social
he
anxiety.
said, "Wait, there's people behind that wall."
You
I
know
was like,
what?
"This
If you want
guy."
to if you want to talk like that, we can run it right now. If you
I
want.
can go over there
What
right
do we
now
want?
and be like, "Hey, wait, what you just said to me?" Right
What?
now?
What? Come on.
You were trying to run it?
You were trying to run
this
right now.
way?
Like, bro, stand up.
All right, buddy. All right.
So this is a horrible first episode, but I'm glad it's the first one. What's happening? I think you slightly moved my camera.
It's okay. You'll be pretty either way.
It's all right.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
What? All right. So that was a good episode, guys. Let's go. I'm just kidding. For those of you who don't know, that was Christian, and this is Christian.
Spelled the exact same way, by the way.
Wow, no H.
No H.
Christian.
Christian.
So you're about to get married too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
God
what
willing.
made you want? When did you realize you were ready for marriage, and why didn't you go into the priesthood? And
She's just really pretty. No, I'm kidding. So
that's why I did it. Didn't work out.
I know you're watching. So
You're not watching.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. A lot of it just came down to, well, I mean, at first it was like, oh, I want to be married because it's like I'm in a relationship, so that's a natural progression. But eventually, towards the end, towards the end of like, I guess the courting phase and then into the engagement phase, there was just a lot of doubt of like, am I really called to be like,
Yeah.
a dad? So Brother Victor was such a big advocate for me to become a priest. I'm like,
Brother Victor, come on the show.
yeah. He was just foaming at the mouth anytime like I would just like talk about like the priesthood and stuff like
Yeah.
that. He'd just be like, I just think you'd be a really good priest. Like the first time I ever met him.
I think they're on commission.
Yeah, maybe I don't even know, dude.
I'll ask him.
Yeah, please do. Because that would change everything. But no, I'm kidding. But yeah, he spoke to me like the first day that we met. He texted me actually. He was like, "Hey, I think you'd be a really good priest, or at least a good layman." And I was like, "Oh, okay. What's a layman?"
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, it's just a person who's part of the laity. That's it. That's
So what you're doing now?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
So you're good either way is basically what you
Yeah,
said.
pretty much.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, I mean, I was pretty closed off to the idea like at first, and then afterwards I decided like, hey, you know what, why not try it? Like, let's go ahead and try to go to the priesthood, see what it's like. So I did the retreat out in Loomis sometime last year, and do you need to just get him a drink?
Yeah, I'm gonna get more.
Just get him a drink. We're on a pause right now. Give it a quick second. Oh, okay. Well, so no, I'm gonna wait for you to finish.
You are in a retreat at Loomis.
I was at a retreat. Dude, that's a lot of ice for a glass of whiskey.
I don't
That's
tell you how to drink.
I
Hey,
just-
remember
bro,
when
it's
you
a
drank
lot of
proper
ice.
12 once?
Bro,
Anyways,
no, Butcher's
thank you for
bourbon.
bringing the butter. The butter? The bottle.
Thank you for reading the butter.
The butter. Tell them more, dude.
So sponsors, please. And I ended up going to the retreat in Loomis. I ended up like just experiencing it because I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna be married, I want to make sure that I'm here. Because the thing that Brother Victor, I think it was a manipulative technique, if I'm being honest, but
Sounds
he
like
was
a priest.
Yeah. He was saying that a big thing that happens sometimes in marriages is that like a year in, 2 years in, like a bit in, is the husband will start to think, what if I just became a priest? Like, what if I was meant to become a priest, kind of thing. And so I was like, I want to make absolutely sure that there's no doubt in my mind that I could be like, I'm called to be like in the married life, kind of thing. So I ended up going to Loomis. One of the most beautiful things like I've ever experienced in my life. It was just incredible out there. I stepped on the grounds and I was like, this feels amazing, you know. But eventually towards the end, I mean, I was praying about it because it was really to a point where I could go either way. Like I was just torn either way. I was like, I don't know what to do. So what I did is Christina actually gave me a notebook. It's a burgundy notebook, and she was like, everything that you need to do, write it down. She was like, whatever you feel like you need to write down, write down. So then what I did is we would have a lot of talks out there, and so at one point I was just so like conflicted between the both. So then what I would do is I opened the notebook, and just in the middle of like the silence of everything, because it's super quiet out there. So then I just wrote a line down, and then I was like, God, write the next one. And so whatever came, so I was like, whatever came to mind, just wrote it down. And so I literally had a dialogue like on a piece of paper. And so it's like at one point, like during prayer and stuff like that, I was like, what do you want me to do? And he was like, whatever you want to do, just follow me, kind of thing.
Wow.
So I was like, all right,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So ended up coming home the day or the day that the retreat ended, and so it was just amazing. I really respect the priest. I will say this though, if it had not been for like Christina being in my life, I would 1,000% be a priest. I would be at seminary right now.
Maybe she's on commission.
She's on commission to be with me. They're paying her. Whoever the diocese is paying her or something like that. It's like keep him out, please.
Keep him out of the seminary.
Please keep him out of the seminary. We can't do this right now. The oblates are paying her. It's like giving her bits of merch and stuff like that. But that was pretty much it. I know that I couldn't do the celibate life. I know I couldn't be like just a single person in the parish because I'm a really social person. Yeah. And I like coming home to like you know a family or like you know a person or something like that. So I know I couldn't go home every single night and just be alone. And like physically be alone kind of thing. So I was like, no, that's not for me. I can't. I like mentally I couldn't do that. So yeah. July 14th, I ended up popping the question. Then around
what
9
did she say?
Can you tell us?
I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. She still hasn't given me an answer yet, but yeah, when she does.
You're already planning.
Yeah, I'm like 80% sure because like there's you know she drops hints of like marriage and stuff like that. And
did she ever think about the sisterhood?
Yeah. There was a long time where she's thought about the sisterhood. It's just she's super close with all of her family and all of her friends and things like that. So she didn't ever think like mentally she could do it. Or like emotionally at least that she could do it. It's just because she was so close to everyone. And I was like, yeah, I guess I can get that. You know, I'm not as close with my family, but I can get why people would want to stay near with their families and stuff. So I was like, hey, all the more to you. But it was a huge thing to like for both of us. I was telling her I was like, before we get married, I'd really like you to just like seriously consider like the sisterhood. You don't have to live a retreat. You don't have to do any. Like I encourage living a retreat, but I was like, you don't have to do any of that. And I was like, I just want both of us to be 100% sure before going into this.
Yeah, it's a smart way to go about it, man.
Yeah. So
because I think there's a lot of couples that get married and they're like, I should have done this, I should have done that, and yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we already have like a whole date and set and everything like that. So. God willing, May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Yeah, dude.
Of this year? It already passed. You're late.
Dude, yeah. So what we actually did is we did the proposal after the wedding. Imagine. It's like, we've almost been married a year. So we're engaged right now. But yeah, it's just been a really fruitful experience. It really has. It's tested a lot about or it's shown us a lot about chastity. It's shown us a lot about chastity, purity of heart.
Holding back,
holding back.
Do you consider it's holding back, or?
I think because a lot of my life it's a lot harder for me. Not in the sense of like it's harder for me to hold back, but it's hard for me to like be open, I guess, to that idea of like intimacy. Because like I had a really I had a really big porn addiction, like starting from like age 7, like for a long time. So at one point I was like, I mean, I can't desire it if I like condition myself to think it's not good. Right. So then I ended up, devolving into sexual repression. So it's not really hard for me to hold back. It's more hard for me to like, I guess it's more hard for me to like, how do I even describe it? I guess for me to be open to the idea of intimacy, not in the sense of like, I don't want to be intimate with my wife in the future, but more of just in the sense of like, it's okay to be intimate with my wife in marriage. You know,
100%,
like that kind of thing. Because if you think about it your whole life, like, oh, sex is bad, then you're always gonna think that sex is bad.
Were you told that when you were Protestant?
No, it was never taught. It was never talked about in Protestantism.
Oh.
Like,
then what made you think that sex was bad?
it's just my porn addiction, stuff like that. Because I was like, if I think it's bad, then it is bad, and it makes me stop.
When did you realize that porn was bad?
Because I always knew that porn was bad. It was just hard to. It was just hard to turn away from it because it's an addiction. So obviously there's chemicals in your brain that make you not think straight and all this kind of stuff. Not an excuse, but still. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there was eventually a point where I was like, if I condition myself, if I essentially gaslight myself into thinking that anything sexual is horrible, then I'm obviously not going to think about it. And so I'll stray away from it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it worked for a while. It worked for a really long time. Still technically is working, but I think it's a lot easier now just because I'm understanding like the differences between chastity and sexual repression.
What is the difference?
The difference between chastity and sexual repression is I'm not going to do anything sexual because everything sexual is bad.
Okay.
But sexuality is good. Sexual desire is good. It's from God. But if there is a temptation to do it, understanding when it is okay and when it isn't okay, that's chastity. So for instance, intimacy in marriage, consummation and stuff like that. It's okay in the moments of course, with your spouse and stuff like that. But it's not okay if it's with someone else, if you're on an internet site and you're masturbating, if X, Y, and Z and stuff like that, because that then devolves into lust and pride and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really where chastity kind of comes from.
Well, you said it's okay, but it's good actually, right?
Yeah, it's good.
To be intimate with
you
your
see
wife?
that poll?
Yeah.
You see it still? Yeah.
You're still in the Matrix, man.
Yeah.
You need to get out.
I need to break out. I need to break free. I need to get the pill. So, yeah. This. You can pick up the mic if you have something to say, bro.
Actually, how do you shut that off?
Oh yeah, as I was saying.
Stop.
Stop looking at me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you out like that.
Yeah, Christian.
No, I just thought it was funny you guys were talking about the pill stuff because it's like it's very common in today's lingo when you guys talk about like other people's viewpoints, I guess. Like, oh, they take the pill, they take the red pill, they're red pillars and they're blue pillars.
What's the difference?
I don't know. I didn't watch The Matrix.
That's right. You guys were born like 10 years ago.
I'm 21. It was a little bit over 10 years.
Did you watch The Matrix?
No.
Okay, I did. I just forgot which is which.
I really want to though. I just
saw
don't know where
it
to
once.
watch it.
I think the red pill, it opened his eyes to what's really happening around there.
Okay.
And the blue pill it'll keep him blind to reality. But he would be like just living a normal life.
Huh. So like the blue pill is just staying ignorant to it all, and the red pill is interesting. I never knew that. I thought it was like
I think so.
Well, I don't. But I mean, you're the one you're the expert over here. So
Matrix Neo.
yeah, go ahead, Christian. What's up?
Did he Google it?
I think he Googled it. I think he's Googling
we
it right
need
now.
a Googler.
We do need to Google it, bro. You know what we can do is we have a Google Home right here. So I mean, we could really just.
Nah, I don't want to give her a mic. She doesn't respond all the time.
Oh, does she not?
What are you doing, Christian?
Okay, so I remember the red pill is the one that allows for Neo, the chosen one, to look past the illusion and not see the lies of life. And the blue pill is just to basically
to be part of the sheeple.
Be part of the sheeple.
Be part of the sheeple.
Do you think there's comfort being part of sheeple sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, it's so much.
That's a direct quote from the movie.
Is it really?
Ignorance is bliss.
I do remember
That's where
that
it came from?
I do remember that scene because it's a particular scene where one of the guys who are within the group of the Matrix, they're having a steak dinner with another one of the members, and they're questioning him, saying like, "Wait, why are you settling for this? You know better." And then he cuts a piece of his steak, lifts it up, and says, "I know that this isn't steak. It's some artificial kind of illusion that makes me smell and taste steak, but I'd rather think that it's steak than know that it's some part of a bigger thing that I have to be fixing. Ignorance is bliss."
That's crazy. The fact that you didn't remember what the red and blue pill were, but you can directly quote that from the movie is absolutely astounding to me. I have no idea how you did that. That's incredible. That's quite literally incredible. I
But yeah.
I couldn't do that. I can't quote any movie.
So you need to get out of the Matrix.
I don't. I do need to get out of the Matrix. It's being
Sex
part of the
is
sheeple is
awesome.
not
Sex
fun,
is
dude.
good. Sex is meant. It has a purpose.
Dude, you could have like made that like a poem or something like that. Sex is
No.
awesome. Sex is
I
good.
don't write poems.
Sex is for the greater good. Oh no, but it's
You
good
know
with
what?
good. You can't.
It's just sex is awesome.
It's
It's just period.
yeah, it's consummation, man. It's great. A baby's for life. So yeah.
That's good, man. And so you decided to leave California too, right?
Yeah.
You traitor.
Yeah. I don't know about trader, but but yeah. I do like me
Wait,
and-
nobody knows, huh?
No. So thank you for putting it on the internet. So yes, I am officially moving out of
Do
California
you
and
really
moving
want
to
this
Texas.
to be on? It doesn't have to be on.
I'm gonna stare at it. I can see into your eyes. I know exactly who you are. So
You know that they're just listening to the audio. They're not really looking at us.
I know, but it's always fun to
Alright.
yeah. Anyways, so yes, I am moving out of California, moving into Texas. Reason being is just because it's cheaper. It's cost of living is cheaper out there.
Better diocese.
Better diet.
JK.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. I haven't experienced the diet.
Priests with guns, man.
Dude, that'd be so hard. Holy bullets, dude.
Holy bullets.
Instead of holy water, it's just holy bullets. So they just like shoot. They just shoot. They fire blanks, but like it's yeah, and it's just dude. Imagine an exorcist having a gun, but it's like they don't actually like, hurt the person.
What?
It's
I
just,
got the devil out.
that's right. They're not there anymore. Like, what's the issue? So yeah. Where the area I'm planning on moving into actually it's part of an archdiocese. So
nice.
it's
What's the difference between a diocese and an archdiocese?
your guess is as good as mine. All I know is that there's an archbishop, not an
Cool
actual.
flex.
Yeah, I don't. Wait, no, not an archbishop. It's just a bishop. But
What's the
still,
difference between an archbishop?
because an archbishop and a regular bishop, a regular bishop oversees an area of a state or an area of a nation. An archbishop oversees the entire nation, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa.
If I'm not mistaken, Christian, can
You're
you verify that, Mr. Google Man? But yeah, so I do plan on moving out to Texas. It's just it's so much. It's a much better decision for me and my future family
That's good,
and
man.
things like that. So yeah,
I'm
I'm gonna
happy
miss
for
you though.
guys.
I'm gonna miss you
That's
guys a
alright.
lot, man. I'm gonna miss these kind of moments where I can just like come over whenever. And
I
just,
get it because
you know.
you're not gonna have friends over there. I
Yeah.
have enough friends. I'll be alright.
So
Yeah, well, I mean-
an archbishop is someone who leads a diocese.
An archbishop is someone who leads a diocese.
And what is a bishop?
The bishop he's basically like the president, and the archbishops give him like an intel about what's going on in the diocese, and then the bishops report to the Vatican.
That's a lot of bishops.
That's the chain of command. Well, if you think about it, one bishop per how many archbishops, which are how many dioceses? Think about it.
Well, I mean, if an archbishop
Pray about
oversees, well, if
Pray
an
about
dude, that's fire, dude. That should be a sticker, man. That should
Pray about it.
pray about it. Ooh, that's fire, bro.
Pray about it.
Just like all bold text in a big black square.
I don't know what to call this podcast. The Pray About It.
The Pray About It podcast,
That's funny, dude.
dude.
Pray about it with Diego Bautista.
Pray with Diego. No, don't.
Just early in the podcast,
Pray for Diego. Pray about it.
pray for me with Diego Bautista. Yeah, I don't. That doesn't make sense though. I mean, like, well, I mean, I don't know, but it's. I mean, if it's worked for like over 2,000 years, then I guess. But
But it's not my call. Well, you didn't choose that vocation, so you don't have to worry about it. But
this is true. So, have you heard like some of the priests' excuses for not wanting to become bishops?
no,
They don't like the funny hats. That's
a good-
legit Father Mike's excuse.
that's a good excuse.
That's
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Archbishop is considered to be a more prestigious title according to the USCCB.
What
what does that mean? What is
Let me
USCCB
read
is
this. Let me
Are
read
they
this.
the ones
United
that-
I'll read
States
it.
Conference of United States Conference of Catholic Bishops.
Cashless bishops. Yeah, they have
Shut
no
up,
cash.
dude. You're
Anyways.
illiterate.
Let me read this.
And I
The
hate you.
archbishop
I love
is
you.
the chief bishop with power over several dioceses combined to create an archdiocese. In other words, these guys were the top bishops of a designated area or country. Their job description was very much the same as a bishop, but their word held more force and power.
So then how many archbishops do we have in the U.S.? I'm assuming like
I have a
40.
question.
Go
When
ahead.
you were a Protestant, how did you see Catholics?
I thought we had this conversation already, but
yeah, but not on camera.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Not for
So-
this podcast. Check out G-Son and The Godfather, episode 3, Excelsior.
So
Excelsior.
Excelsior. I'm sorry. No, I was just thinking about the debate earlier. It's just Diego. How is it pronounced? Is it Mong or Hamong?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it,
Are
Christian,
you gonna
is
be
it
racist
Mong
again?
or Hamong?
Because G-Son and The Godfather, you had a really bad problem with that.
It's fine, dude. It's
What was
So
your
how
question?
did Protestant?
what's the difference between? I'm gonna cut this out. Never mind. Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Go ahead. The difference between
Protestant? No, not the
Protestants and
difference.
Catholics.
Not the difference.
so the difference between
When you were a
Catholics and
Protestant,
Protestants is
when you
that
were a
Protestants
Protestant, shut
don't
up. When you were a
understand
Protestant,
the papacy and the sacrament. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Will you stop?
thank you guys
looking
for
at me?
joining us. I'm sorry for that ending, and I really appreciate it.
No,
You
go ahead.
guys
Go ahead.
subscribe,
I believe in you. I believe in
share.
you. I love you so much, and I want you to take the spotlight right here.
When
'cause
you
it
were a
is your show.
Protestant,
When I was a
Christian
piece of toilet.
switch.
Go ahead.
When
Go
you
ahead.
were
Go
a
ahead.
Protestant, how did you view the Catholic Church?
I viewed them as very
And
evil.
this is where we're gonna cut off and change it. Go.
It's like a super big cutoff. It's like to be continued.
So when you were a Protestant,
when I was Protestant, when I was
how did you
Protestant,
see the Catholic Church?
Catholic Church, I saw the Catholic Church as evil. I saw all Catholics as idolaters and witchcrafts, like sorcerers
Really,
and,
witchcraft?
like,
Okay, I get the idolatry because the whole saints and Mary.
Yeah,
but witchcraft.
witchcraft because of the incense and stuff like that.
By
keep
the
in mind-
way, we're not idolatrous,
Obvious-
but I see
yes,
why
I mean-
Protestants would get confused.
Yeah, so it's easy to
witchcraft.
fear something you don't understand. And it's easy to make conclusions about something that you don't have any information about. So for me, I had no information. I was raised my entire life to think Catholics are evil. They worship statues. They commit idolatry. They believe in witchcraft. They commit this, and this, and this, and this. They basically break every single commandment.
Why
and sacrament.
witchcraft? Though you said because of the incense.
So because of the incense, because of the whole thing with praying to saints and Mother Mary, because she can have miracles happen and things like that. Because of I forgot what else. I think there was a whole thing about like I don't even think like there was a lot of lies that I was told. I was told like at one point like an initiation process for priests was that they took them out in the middle of the night in all black robes and like cloaks and stuff like that and did this whole initiation thing in the middle of the night with nothing but candles and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you'll never know because you.
Yeah, well, I'll never know. But yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of like things and rumors and lies and just really big. So it was just a lot of stuff like that that just ended up happening, and I don't know. I never really questioned it.
So you switched up because of a girl.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, baby. I love you so much. So, yeah, I mean, she was really the one that introduced me to like what Catholicism really is, and what it like truly.
All
stands
Catholics out there, date Protestants, make them switch.
You can fix them if she.
I'm just kidding.
You can fix them. So yeah, no. What do you mean no?
People
Okay,
aren't
so
fixable, they're mendable.
What?
Oh, how come I'm the only one drinking, but you guys seem like you're drunk?
You're dunk. So yeah, I met this one girl in high school. Her name was Christina. Her name is Christina. Not was. She's not dead. Bro, shut up. I'm trying to tell a story. So her name is Christina. And she's currently stop, bro. Please
Just
let me
say
tell
your
my story.
story, gosh.
No, because I'm just hearing him go and like it's really distracting me. So what, dude?
No,
Let me tell my story.
Come
Okay,
on.
for real,
You got
for
my
real,
full attention.
for real,
Go.
for real, for real. Turn around. I can't look at you right now. I
So-
can't. So, Christina, you suck, dude. I'm trying to tell a story. I need to freaking. It's empty. So, I met this girl in high school. Her name is Christina, and her name is Christina now. Her name was Christina back then.
I remember why I stopped doing G-Son and the Godson. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Anyways, so anyways, I started talking to her because I thought she was really pretty. She still is beautiful, incredibly. So
G-Son and the
so
Godson.
dude, turn around. I can't right now with you with your little laughs and stuff like that. Okay.
What the hell is the name of our podcast?
Podcast. It's G-Son and the Godfather.
I put G-Son and the Godson, but yeah,
G-Son and the Godson.
G-Son
Where
and
were
the
you?
Godfather. Excelsior. Go.
Anyways, so I met this girl, and so she showed me the true essence of what Catholicism actually is. So then I was talking with. No, you're not. You're
What
not
is
allowed
the
to turn
essence of
back around.
Catholicism?
So what do you mean the essence of Catholicism?
You just said she taught you the essence of Catholicism.
Well, the misconceptions. She
okay.
debunked the misconceptions and stuff like that. So, for instance, the whole thing with the Virgin Mary and things like that, instead of it being okay. Go ahead.
When did you realize that the Eucharist was Christ?
When did I realize?
And how did it make you feel?
Wait, what about my whole other story?
That was taking forever. Just answer this.
You know why it was taking forever though? Is because Christian over here.
It's because you
decided to have-
allowed yourself to be distracted by Christian. Go ahead.
It's because you allowed yourself to be distracted. Never mind. So, when did I realize that the Eucharist was real and how to make me feel? So, the moment you need to stop laughing because I can see out of the corner of my eye. I can't, man.
Let's switch them
So
up.
no, I can do this. I can do this. Let me lock in. Let me cook. So, okay, the minute I realized that the Eucharist is real that's a really good question. I would have to say that would have to have been when I went to. I want to say it was when my first Easter Mass. I would have to say, because there was something about it that
Christian, shut up, please.
there was something about that Mass that was just like so other. Chris, dude, you need to step out, bro.
This is
I'm
the
trying to
first and last time I'm talking to you guys on this podcast. I'm sorry, everybody.
So, so
Easter Mass.
it was an Easter Mass. Father Saji was giving it. And it was just like this first moment where I was like, this is actually real. And it was when he held up the Eucharist. It was that and another time as well, but it was the first time he held up the Eucharist. So I was like, because I was also an RCIA, so I didn't really know a whole lot about the faith going into it initially. So it was right after I learned about like the Eucharist and things like that, and what it was really all about. And there was just this overwhelming peace that kind of took over in that moment, and it was like everything like could have been going wrong. Everything kind of was going wrong at that time, but like for some reason at that moment I was like, nothing could ever be more perfect, in this moment. So I felt great. Like I truly felt at peace, and just stepping out of Mass, it made me want to go back in. And I was like, let me go to another Mass and like one more. And I think like afterwards, this is when I was really getting into apologetics. I can't remember specific times. I just remember specific moments where I was just kind of praying, and like in adoration and things like that. I think there's this one time where I was just praying a rosary in Latin. And yeah, I mean, it was just this like it was just this overwhelming peace. It's always been this overwhelming peace and this kind of, it almost feels like goosebumps that kind of hit. And that's where I'm like, oh, like, hey, kind of thing. Like I knew you were here, but what's up, kind of thing. So it's always been there. Since then, like it's just a more of like, hey, like checking in kind of thing, like how you doing, if that makes any sense. Like it's more of me checking in with God rather than him checking in with me, since he already like always knows how I'm doing, kind of thing, So yeah, it's
So you realized that the Eucharist was Christ at
an Easter Mass. I give really long-winded answers, and I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, it's okay. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to who?
I'm sorry.
Viewers.
So
Yeah. And you said there's a second time that you felt his presence in the Eucharist, or what was it?
Yeah, it was Loomis.
Loomis?
It was Loomis out there at the retreat, and what happens is, well, I don't want to spoil it, but basically I was in adoration. Well, because it's a retreat, so it's like, some people might go. And
it's not like they get letters. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there was just this point where I was in adoration, and I was like crazy tired, and I was falling asleep, and a lot of the priests there say that this is a common occurrence, but it was like such like a weird thing because, anyways, we were taking rounds like during adoration and stuff like that, and so it was me and like two other people. And I was the only one when like I was about to fall asleep, the candles would start to like snap and crackle. And then I would wake up and I would like look at the Eucharist, and it would, all of a sudden the candles would go silent. And then all of a sudden when I would fall asleep again, they would snap and crackle again. And then I asked them the next day, I was like, hey, did you guys ever experience this? They were like, no, they do that. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you guys didn't it didn't happen to you guys? And I was like, they were like, no. And I asked one of the priests, and he was like, they do that occasionally. And I was like, but anyways, but it was kind of at that moment where it was, I guess it was kind of a message to me like, hey, stay with me, stay awake with me.
Yeah.
You know,
wow, going back to the
I know which one.
Gospels.
Yeah. Going back to those Gospels and things like that. Or I was thinking more of I think it was Isaiah, if I'm not mistaken, where he was in the temple and like he kept falling asleep, or like somebody kept calling his name. Sorry, I can't remember.
I'll be honest, I'm Catholic. I've never read the Bible.
Yeah, it's okay.
But I was thinking about in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yeah, where Jesus would go pray, and
he
then
was
they would
asking
sleep.
his apostles to stay awake with him.
Yeah.
Because that's what you become when you do your confirmation, right?
Yeah, basically.
You're a prophet. I believe that's what Brother Victor said.
Really?
Brother Victor, come on the podcast and clarify.
Please.
And I believe he says you're a prophet, and prophets are meant to preach.
Mm.
So everybody doing your confirmation,
you're becoming prophets.
Yeah,
dude, that's freaking crazy. Did you know he's teaching confirmation? By the way,
let's just move on.
Did you know
I did.
So why is this news? Never mind. I'm not even gonna complain. When was the first time you knew the Eucharist was real, and how did it make you feel?
I'll be honest. Feelings, it's whatever. It didn't necessarily. There's been moments where I've been in front of the Eucharist and I'm like, wow, like this is overwhelming. This is,
Yeah.
But I think God gave me a grace that I've always accepted that He's in the Eucharist. It's also my upbringing. My mom and dad were really good at burning that in my mind.
Yeah,
like, that's Jesus. That's Jesus. I'm like, okay, that's Jesus. Well, in Spanish, it's Jesus. Ese es Jesus. And I'm like, oh, it's Jesus. So every time they would concentrate,
it's time.
The memory on this one has been filled. If you guys want to continue it with this one in a wide view, you guys are welcome to do so.
Nah, it's cool. It's a good.
It's a good stopping point right here, I guess. Yeah.
This one's still going.
Yeah, I'm still going.
All right, we'll just finish on this one.
Can you do something for me really quick though?
What's that?
Can you spell socks really fast?
SOCKS really fast.
Yeah, like spell it really fast.
I just did.
No, but like do it really fast.
SOCKS.
CS.
Huh?
SOCKS. See.
So I feel like I had this grace.
SOCKS.
From God.
Christian?
This is why Jesus and the Godfather did not
SOCKS.
go well.
SOCKS.
All right. Well,
thank you so much, everybody, for joining
us
this podcast. And
I have no idea.
What.
But we'll figure this out. See you next time.
Thank you so much for listening.